All right, hello again, everybody. This is the Fantasy Sports Boss. Welcome to another edition of the Fantasy Football Podcast. This is the real, main podcast of the day. I know this morning I discussed my my draft situation in my one league, and so I got some good feedback from you guys as well. But today I wanted to talk about an alternative approach to the running back position, which I'm discovering in my slow draft that's in the 5th round right now. Also wanted to go over the news of the day. We'll sprinkle that in along with some other items as well. If you're new to the channel, of course, hit the subscribe button if you haven't done so already. Share us out with all your friends and whatnot. And also, if you can hit the like button, I'd appreciate that as well. So, news item to lead off the day. Jonathan Taylor returned to training camp for the Indianapolis Colts, but he remains on the PUP list. And reports indicate that nothing has changed in terms of Taylor wanting a trade out of town. Excuse me, he's been dealing with an ankle problem going back to last season, which was surgically repaired. Apparently, it's still not 100%, which is beyond concerning. And now you have the issue with butting heads with the team owner. Never a good thing. Wants a trade. And Taylor seems like the kind of guy emotionally that will dig himself in. Maybe not to the Le'Veon Bell level, but he seems like he's really going to go all out in terms of just trying to get the hell out of Indianapolis. And his fantasy football value is in complete limbo. Just to show you how far he has fallen in that league I've been telling you guys about, Taylor was the first pick of the 5th round. Now, this is a 10-team league, all right? So, first pick in the 5th round is pick number 41. So in a regular 12-team league, we're talking about the 3rd round there. So so just shocking to me that and really not totally shocking if you really think about it. The fact that he's sliding as much because and I misspoke, it would be a 4th round pick if it was a 12-team league, but regardless, 5th round, 4th round, whatever. Taylor, the fact that he is dropping as far as he has is, very, very, very concerning. And it really makes him a chore to handicap in terms of how to handle him in drafts. Now, there's a point in every draft where Jonathan Taylor is all of a sudden very attractive. He's just sitting there. So he went at pick 41, which, listen, I was tempted to do that as well, at the end of the 3rd round. But I just couldn't do it. Not only the fact that he's hurt and wants a trade, but I was concerned about Taylor with a running quarterback not throwing to him as much, a running quarterback, Anthony Richardson taking touchdowns away around the goal line. So these were all factors that I was concerned about with Jonathan Taylor. Are we really going to go into the season if you're the Colts with Evan Hull as the starting running back? And so, he joins Josh Jacobs. Still no clarity on that situation. The Raiders are signing veteran backs left and right. They still have Zamir White atop the depth chart, and he doesn't catch passes. So, just a messy situation. Just a totally messy situation. So, like I said, he fell to the 41st pick in my draft, which would be the middle of the 4th round in a 12-team league. So, I just don't know what to say about this, honestly. Like I said, I was out on him before that. And certainly nothing, even though he's back with the team, I think it's sort of a self-preservation move. A, he doesn't want to get fined, and B, he wants to at least be somewhat cooperative so that maybe the team would just give in and trade him. And I've always said the 2 destinations you need to watch the most, Dallas, New England. New England has made no secret they want to get somebody in to help Ramondre Stevenson, and Dallas has publicly spoken about how they don't want to overwork Tony Pollard. They're still probably internally kicking the tires on Ezekiel Elliott, and I think Jonathan Taylor would be a really good fit there. With both of those guys, Pollard and Taylor, their fantasy values would be sabotaged. Stevenson, same thing in New England, so we got to see what happens there. Now, as far as the running back position, alternate strategy, I think, has dawned on me. Now, you all know that I've been avoiding the top running backs this year in drafts. I think they all have major question marks, whether it's age, injury, whatnot. I was just out on all the top guys. Christian McCaffrey, Austin Eckler, Saquon Barkley, Bijan Robinson, Nick Chubb, certainly, Derrick Henry, Jonathan Taylor, who I talked about. Even Tony Pollard, I'm a little bit nervous about, although I would have taken him in the second round if he was there in my draft. Travis Etienne, Breece Hall, he might start on PUP. These are all guys. Najee Harris, boring as hell. Jaylen Warren seems to be making a push for 50-50 share and carries. So really, it's only from, I would say, Jahmyr Gibbs onward. So Jahmyr Gibbs, Aaron Jones, Dameon Pierce, Miles Sanders, Cam Akers, Rachaad White, James Conner. These are the guys that I've been in on. And it really dawned on me doing my draft that there's a really good strategy staring you right in the face in a PPR league with the running back position. In other words, stock up early, like I've always been telling you guys, on wide receivers, either sprinkling a quarterback or a tight end, but not both, because then you really set yourself back. You need to build depth at wide receiver, and eventually you have to build depth at running back as well. But the way I'm handling it in my one league is I already took James Conner, and now Cam Akers is still there. Alexander Mattison is still there. I'm not likely to take him because I have Justin Jefferson, but he's a perfect example of a guy who's still there. Miles Sanders, all three of these guys that I just named along with James Conner and Rachaad White. So that's five guys that you can get in the middle rounds 4, 5, and 6, who are going to be really workhorse backs. And there's not a lot of workhorse backs in today's NFL in fantasy football. But all those guys I just named, those 5 of them are all going to be workhorse backs. And you could get them in the middle rounds. So the position remains very volatile from an injury standpoint, but all 5 of these guys are cheaper, and all 5 can catch the ball, and they're going to have the lion's share of carries. I already got James Conner. If I take Cam Akers, have those 2 guys, I've got 2 bell cow backs who are going to be playing from behind, lots of dump-off passes, especially for James Conner, because we know what a good receiver he is. Rachaad White, especially Miles Sanders, who they're going to use in a passing game. So that certainly Alexander Mattison, that is a good strategy to use. Now, in terms of how to rank them, I have James Conner ahead of all of them. That's why I took him. I have Miles Sanders second in that group. Akers third. It's really close between them. Then I have Mattison, then I have Rachaad White. I mean, the Tampa Bay situation's ugly. The offensive line's terrible. The quarterback situation's terrible. He wasn't really a good runner at all, Rachaad White, last season. His efficiency was terrible, just putrid. So, I have concerns there. But they're going to be throwing a lot because they're going to be behind a lot. So in a PPR league, Rachaad White is pretty attractive. So again, even J.K. Dobbins, who doesn't really catch the ball as much, he works for that scenario too. I've said this all along. There is no dead zone this year. None of these guys are dead zone. DeAndre Swift, Dameon Pierce, David Montgomery, all of these guys you could have in the 5th, 6th, 7th round. Alvin Kamara, and they're all serviceable. They're all good, solid backs. It's not like it was 5 years ago where the dead zone really was a dead zone. All right, so that's how I'm playing it in my league, and I really suggest you do as well, because you stock up on the receivers, the much more durable players who won't hurt you as much and don't have the probability of getting hurt and really putting your team in a lurch as opposed to somebody who takes Christian McCaffrey in the first round. He goes down, season's fucked, right? Same thing with Barkley, early round 2. Your season's in the fucking trash if he goes down. Receivers don't get hurt as much. So if you take the receivers the first 3 or 4 rounds, maybe a tight end or a quarterback, not both, take one, preferably the quarterback. Well, really, it doesn't matter, because you can still get a good tight end, Pat Freiermuth, whatever, later in the draft. So that's how I would play it with those running backs. All right, newsflash. Ravens activated J.K. Dobbins from the PUP list. Yet to practice with the team. That could change soon. Was trying to get a new contract. So Dobbins sees the writing on the wall. He's not getting a new deal. He's back. I think he's going to have a good year. I really do. If he could just stay healthy. I mean, that's the problem with J.K. Dobbins. He can't stay healthy. He's another guy that you have to, be worried about in terms of being able to stay on the field. But his price tag is not overly expensive, so it could work. Again, these guys have high upside in these middle rounds, and they're not going to kill you if they get hurt as much. All right, newsflash, Tom Pelissero reports Saints running back Kendre Miller won't require surgery on his sprained knee and could be ready week 1. I guess this is somewhat interesting because Alvin Kamara is going to be suspended the first 3 games, so Kendre Miller will be there. He didn't catch the ball a lot in college. Not really overly interested in him. The other rookie running backs, Roscoe Johnson, Zach Charbonnet, I'm much more interested in those guys, than I am Kendre Miller. All right, newsflash, Zach Ertz cleared for full activity. So if you're looking for a cheap tight end, a guy who was on pace for 80-plus catches last year, Zach Ertz, very, very late round pick. And again, the cupboard's bare. DeAndre Hopkins no longer there. Okay, you have Marquise Brown, maybe Rondale Moore when he's on the field and he's always hurt. So Zach Ertz is going to get a lot of garbage time targets. So, I can't take him because I have James Conner. I don't want 2 Cardinals on the same team. But, that's somebody that you could look at there in terms of being a really cheap tight end who can contribute. So that's the situation there. So, like I said, I talked this morning about my draft, so this will be a short podcast here, but I'll do another one tomorrow. Injury updates coming, of course, throughout the day. Hit the subscribe button. More coming soon, guys. Take care.